Hi, and thank you for visiting my channel. For more information, kindly subscribe and follow. Now let's get started. Roman Reigns is currently forming his army to fight Solo Sikoa's faction in the ongoing Bloodline Civil War on WWE SmackDown. After Jimmy USO reunited with the original Tribal Chief, the former is now trying to recruit his twin Jey USO. A WWE Hall of Famer Mark Henry suggested that Reigns would soon come to a realization regarding the Intercontinental Champion. Last Monday, Jimmy USO went to Raw to attempt to speak with his twin brother. However, the latter refused and asked him to get out of his face. After Jey confronted Solo Sikoa about dividing the family in the opening segment of last Friday's SmackDown, he bumped into Jimmy and Roman Reigns backstage later that night. Although the original Tribal Chief told his cousin that he and their family were proud of him, the Intercontinental Champion responded with a no yeet and walked away. Speaking on the Busted Open podcast, Mark Henry predicted that Jey would eventually forgive his cousin. The world's strongest man claimed Reigns would soon realize that he would have to apologize to win Jey back, and he would eventually take that step. The apology should come. Roman will see that, if Emma go forward, that's what's gonna have to happen, he said. From 2209 to 2020, ex-WWE host thinks only Roman Reigns can convince Jey USO to fight by his side against the Bloodline. Former WWE host Matt Camp recently addressed how Roman Reigns and Jimmy USO could convince Jey USO to join their side amid the ongoing Bloodline Civil War on his The Wrestling Mat podcast. The ex-Raw Talk host claimed only the original Tribal Chief can convince the Intercontinental Champion to reunite with him and Jimmy. I would have multiple people try to convince Jey. Roman, though, has got to be the one. Others should try and Jey can rebuff them, and finally, it's if he wants me that bad, he can come talk to me. Didn't you guys do his bidding enough? Didn't I do his bidding enough? If he wants me that bad, he's got my number. He knows where I'm at. The Intercontinental Champion is right here on Monday Night Raw, he said. Jey USO will defend his Intercontinental Championship this Monday on WWE Raw against Braun Breaker. While many expect the Bloodline to interfere and cost him the title after his confrontation with Solo Sikoa last Friday, it would be interesting to see if that happens. The Bloodline Civil War has been one of the most riveting storylines in WWE history. Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, has been at the center of this family drama, leading his cousins Jey and Jimmy USO, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman into the heart of WWE dominance. However, with cracks forming in the Bloodline and internal conflicts pushing the group to the brink of collapse, Roman Reigns has found himself on the verge of a startling realization, one that could alter the entire landscape of WWE. As Mark Henry, the WWE Hall of Famer, recently revealed in a post-show interview, Roman's inner conflict isn't just about his role as Tribal Chief, it's about something far deeper. Henry speculates that Roman is beginning to come to a major realization about one of WWE's top stars, Solo Sikoa. And this revelation could have major ramifications for the Bloodline Civil War. The rise of Solo Sikoa. When Solo Sikoa was introduced to the Bloodline, fans saw him as the enforcer, a quiet but lethal figure meant to back Roman Reigns' dominance. His imposing presence and brutal fighting style made him an integral part of the faction's success. But over time, Solo's role has evolved beyond that of a mere henchman. He's proven himself to be more than just muscle, he's a potential heir to the throne. Mark Henry, during his analysis, suggested that Roman Reigns is starting to see Solo Sikoa not as an underling but as a legitimate threat to his Tribal Chief status. For years, Roman held the position of power unchallenged. The Usos, while invaluable allies, were always loyal followers, never potential leaders. But Solo is different. His stoic demeanor and calculated moves have caused Roman to rethink his role in the Bloodline. There's something in Solo that's different, Henry said. He's not just another member of the Bloodline. Roman is beginning to see him as someone who could potentially be the next Tribal Chief. And that's causing a lot of conflict in Roman's mind. The shadow of doubt. As the bloodline has fractured, with Jimmy Uso betraying Roman and Jay stepping away from the faction, Solo Sikoa has remained by Roman's side, at least for now. But the dynamic between Solo and Roman has shifted. Roman is used to being the unquestioned leader, but Solo's presence is beginning to cast a long shadow over the tribal chief. Mark Henry continued, Roman is a smart man, and he knows that leadership isn't just about brute force. It's about perception, and right now, the fans and even his own family are starting to perceive Solo as someone who could take over. Roman may not say it out loud, but he feels that pressure. It's a subtle shift, but the tension between Roman and Solo has been growing week by week. While Solo has never explicitly challenged Roman, his actions speak louder than words. He's been more assertive, stepping into moments where Roman once would have controlled the narrative. In matches, Solo has taken the spotlight, showing a level of independence that was not there when he first joined the bloodline. Loyalty or betrayal? The looming question on everyone's mind is whether Solo will eventually betray Roman. The bloodline's history is rife with betrayals, from Jimmy and Jay's rebellion to Paul Heyman's moments of disloyalty, but Solo's potential betrayal would hit Roman differently. Unlike the Usos, Solo hasn't shown emotional conflict. His motivations remain unclear. Mark Henry posed an intriguing theory: Roman isn't sure where Solo's loyalty truly lies. That's what's eating at him. He can't figure out if Solo is loyal to him or if Solo is just biding his time, waiting for the right moment to strike. For Roman, this uncertainty is a significant departure from the control he's maintained for so long. He's always been able to manipulate situations, whether through fear, intimidation, or sheer dominance. But Solo is an enigma, a wildcard who could either be Roman's greatest ally or his most devastating enemy. The moment of realization, according to Mark Henry, Roman's major realization about Solo came during a pivotal segment on WWE SmackDown. As tensions between Roman and the remaining bloodline members reached a boiling point, there was a brief moment where Solo locked eyes with Roman, and in that instant, the tribal chief saw something he hadn't before: ambition. That moment was huge, Henry emphasized. It was like Roman finally saw Solo for what he really is. Not just an enforcer, but a man with his own ambitions, his own desires. Roman realized that Solo might want the throne for himself, and that's a scary thought for someone who's been on top as long as Roman has. This realization has left Roman at a crossroads. Does he continue to trust Solo and hope that his loyalty remains intact, or does he take preemptive action to eliminate the threat? It's a dilemma that has left the WWE universe buzzing, with fans speculating on what Roman's next move will be. The fallout, the implications of Roman's realization are massive. If he confronts Solo, it could lead to the final fracture of the bloodline. Solo, feeling cornered, might turn against Roman, setting up a power struggle within the faction that could culminate in an explosive match at a major WWE event. On the other hand, if Roman chooses to let things simmer, the tension will continue to build, potentially leading to Solo's quiet rise to power. Roman's biggest mistake might be underestimating just how far Solo is willing to go to claim the title of tribal chief for himself. As Mark Henry concluded, Roman's in a tough spot. He knows he's not invincible, and he knows Solo is right there, waiting. It's not a matter of if Solo will make his move, it's a matter of when. Conclusion: Roman Reigns' realization about Solo Sikoa is a game-changer. The bloodline civil war, already chaotic, is now poised to take an even darker turn as Roman grapples with the fact that the greatest threat to his reign might not be external but internal. Solo Sikoa's ambitions are no longer hidden, and as Roman comes to terms with this truth, the WWE Universe waits with bated breath to see how the tribal chief will respond. Will Roman take action before it's too late, or will Solo Sikoa be the one to bring an end to Roman's historic reign? The answer to that question will shape the future of WWE.